Woo! What's up? Welcome back. Welcome back. It's your boy Carcino here. Been dealing with a lot of craziness going on here, and let's get this fixed. Wow, Chris Rock, Mama, Miss Rosalie, she was something else. Miss Rosalie Rock. She came out and said some things. She first thanked God that Chris did what he did. You know, she basically did what a mother does in this situation. She said, hey, look, Chris did, she said he's still processing everything because it was unexpected and she thought it was a skit when it all went down because when it went down, she didn't think it was real until she saw Will yelling from his seat. And she was like, I couldn't reach out to my son at that time. So she's like, as a mother, that makes you defenseless. You can't really do anything in that situation. But she ended up getting in contact with him later on. And, he's processing it, but she was glad he channeled his Sidney Poitier and kept his dignity, in class and didn't go to Will's level. Now, she said if she talked to Will, she'd be like, what is going on with you? Basically, what they doing is, if you ever worked the grill, when the charcoal's in there and they hot and it seems like it's fizzling out, and all you got to do is move the charcoal around with the stick poker, just turn the charcoal around. Or if you got a fire going, all you do is move the wood around a little bit and it can get the flames back on. Just when it looked like people was ready to move on from Will Smith and Chris Rock situation, the mom goes and does this interview on just a regular local television show. That wasn't really why she was sitting there, but the producers of that show knew, like, we can't let her get out of that seat without asking her the question and her thoughts about it. So right away, sorry about that, I had to yawn, tired. So right away, Chris Rock became the focal point of everything that's going on in the world, the entire picture. It's all on Chris Rock. Then on top of that, you have another situation where it's not about Chris Rock anymore. It's about what's going on with Will. Will's well-being. Is Will okay? What's happened to Will? What did that poison wife do now? Now, the mom went on to discuss Chris's healing, and he's doing all right and he's doing okay. He's still just going through the motions of processing all of this because everyone's looking at him differently. It's a weird feeling, when people are looking at him waiting for him to say any word about Will Smith. And it's weird because he's used to people looking at him because he's, been a quote unquote celebrity. But now it's different. They looking at him as if they're waiting to record every single move he does, when before it wasn't really like that. It was like, oh, that's Chris Rock, he's cool. Now people want to get a camera out. People want to try to ask him a question, everything about Will on the Oscars. It's been a month and people are still talking about it. And she went to talk about the punishment of the Oscars, as to say, what kind of punishment is that? And she almost said it wasn't, it was a joke. It wasn't even suffice. A 10-year ban from the Academy. Most people don't even go to the Oscars every year. Like, what is that doing? But she did say, I don't think they should have took his award from him right there, or took him out. That would have taken the attention away even more from the event. But she brought up the fact that no one was able to hear Questlove's speech because of what happened. They took everything off the air. They went to a commercial break so that they could deal with the Will Smith situation. So Questlove got his award for best documentary, but we didn't get to see or hear his speech. And she said that was probably the biggest crime of the night, is that they didn't get a chance to hear his speech when he accepted the award, for, oh, this is the Oscars. And yeah, well, I just feel that she probably don't get the gasp of how big that really is. It's not about him just attending the awards. When you get a ban like that, you're basically got toxic waste on you, and no one wants to come around you to do work in the industry. There's not a lot of people kicking down the doors to work with Will. They're looking to get away from Will. And when you got hundreds of millions of dollars tied up in production value, people start to pull the plug on your projects. The Bright sequels are now canceled. It doesn't mean these other projects are canceled, but Bright is finished at Netflix. They decided that was, hanging on by a thread. So we're going to go ahead and cancel that out. Oh man, they've been having Will Smith week and month. All of these people have been milking this, but it's funny to me. I get that same statement. You milking this from black people. Meanwhile, white people have been talking about this every single day on white people platforms. All day, every day. They even had the top 10 most disappointing Will Smith movies and the top 10 most popular Will Smith movies. They've even done Chris Rock and how he's come from obscurity to where he is now. Now, when he did New Jack City, he had just gotten, or did, got paid $600 for a speaking role. Now, normally you don't see that in a speaking role. A cameo appearance is like, or just an extra gets $600. He took $600 just so he can have a speaking role in Beverly Hills Cop 2 with Eddie Murphy. He came right out and said, I get $10 for cars, $20 for a truck. Like, what the hell is that? He's like, here's a 50. Park it next to a limo or a Mercedes or something. He's like, I get $10 for cars, $20 for limos or something. What the hell is that? He's like, it's my truck. It is a 50. Park it next to a limo. So it was crazy the way that went down. But this is society. Society is crazy. So this notion of everybody is happy or everybody is living it up is not true. He was paid about $10,000 for New Jack City. One of his most famous roles, Pookie, the crackhead, paid $10,000. Halle Berry got paid damn near less than that. But it was work. He made himself the hottest comedian in the world, and his asking price was through the roof. He started doing $2 million per film. So when you start understanding the numbers and start seeing things in its plight and start saying, okay, I get it now. Now I see why people do this. Didn't matter if Chris Rock couldn't act. It didn't matter if the people thought he was good or not. That wasn't the case. He was popular. Then HBO backed up a money truck behind Chris so they can do the Chris Rock Show, which was a sketch comedy show that was slept on and didn't get the appeal that the Chappelle Show got, but it opened the door for shows like the Chappelle Show. Well, the people at Comedy Central was more open to letting Dave be Dave after watching, Chris Rock do this show on his platform on HBO. It was like, wow, okay, so I guess this is acceptable. If we come on late enough, people wouldn't, complain about it. Well, Dave and his friends are some of the same people. They're in the same neck of the woods, everything. Now, I've been one to be known as a person as a stickler to the rules. Like, you're always the rules, the rules, the rules. It's not about that with me. With me, it's more of, this is the way I roll. And if you don't understand the way I roll, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm about right and wrong. But when a situation I felt like there's nothing more really to talk about, there's nothing more really to talk about. I told you Will was going into a spiritual camp, right? To get spiritual healing. He wasn't going into just any old regular thing. He's going into a spiritual healing facility because those guys deal with spiritual healing. Now, myself, I'm not involved in spiritual healing places, but I'm aware that this is where a lot of celebrities go. I tried to explain to you, a lot of celebrities have like 5, 6 doctors on payroll. They pay like 20, 30,000 a month on request. Like, you got to be on call for me. You got one shrink just there to listen to your problems. You got another one you pay to teach you techniques to deal with anxiety. You have another one that does like basically spiritual mumbo jumbo to try to give you positive vibes. You have all of these crazy doctors making all this money for you. And you'd be like, who would be stupid enough to pay that? And it's like, well, welcome to Hollywood. This is what they do in Hollywood. So now society has told us this is the way we should do things, and other society is telling us this isn't how we should do things. This is entirely different. Now, I came up a little different than the rest. I was someone who grew up in the projects, but never really had to worry about being poor. Never had to worry about was there going to be food on the table. We ate every night. My Christmases was massive. You know, it was just something we did. Now I have a situation to deal with. The people around me isn't in my predicament. A lot of them are not getting 20, 30 gifts for Christmas. You know, they don't know what that is. I'm stuck in a scenario where I have to deal with that because I'm learning on the fly the difference between just like rich and poor. We were only had money because we had enough people in the household working. When people that's living there, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 to 8 different paychecks coming into one apartment. You know, it's like, whoa, it's a lot of checks coming in. So when you're able to excel in that type of lifestyle, you're able to take care of yourself a little bit better than, the average bear. So it took a village. In the Rock family, it took a village. There's a lot of them. And mostly what you see on the Chris Rock show, it didn't really detail the rest of his brothers and what was, going on with them. It focused mostly on two brothers and a sister and just stayed on that focus of the values of what Chris's father was like, his mother was like, and it was relatable to black, families. So when Everybody Hates Chris show comes to light, people were like, man, this is a great show. I love it. And a lot of people thought it should have continued as far as it did, but it gave a new identity to Chris Rock. That he didn't have to be raunchy to be funny. Because that was the thing. Chris Rock just dirty. He's just too dirty. He's the racist comedian. Did you ever hear that? So Chris had a situation where he was mixed and integrating into a predominantly white school, having white friends early on. Like me, we didn't know what that meant. The only white people we saw, we was from the projects. So the only white people that the people saw where we were from were where we are and what we like see every day. The white people we saw were the police, the school teachers. That's who we saw. The principal, the business owner. That's what we saw growing up. They were owning the stores. They were the general managers. They were the principals. They were our teachers. And they were the police. They were always in a position of authority. So growing up as a kid, we really didn't see them. But when I was growing up, my uncles, they traveled outside the world, seeing and meeting people. So me seeing white people was different because I've seen them in our house and they would come to the projects. Okay, we would go out to other people's house. My father, my brother, my uncle, my uncle's in music, and he dealt with a lot of white people that played. They were musicians, so we would see them all the time. My uncle's manager was a white guy. Came to the projects. You know, it was nothing. And all of these different scenarios, it was not unfamiliar for me to see a white person and be the white person being treated the same way or as anybody else. Nobody cared that they were white. It was like, that's Bob, that's Frank. But it didn't tell us that racism didn't exist in the world. It's just that as a kid, it was normalized. So it wasn't this pent up FU mentality that we see in everyday walk of life. But I didn't say, well, I didn't see none. You know, it ain't happened to me. I got along with everybody. So I really think it's just people making. No, because everybody don't have that. You can't assume your situation is everybody else's situation. You got to learn how to think outside of yourself. And once you learn how to think outside of yourself, then you start seeing the scenario for what it truly is. Now, I was sitting there going over details myself, and I was just like, man, blown away at the fact that how in the world did like all of us like not get hooked, like one of us not get hooked on drugs, join a gang. You know, it's tattoos. Like tattoos was like forbidden in our family. You know, that used to matter to black folks. Not getting a tattoo. Tattoos used to be for prisoners. Now you walk around and you see people just they getting tattoos at 15, and mom just got to deal with it. Well, people got to understand something. When you are in a situation that you have a foundation of family, no matter if y'all talk or nothing, y'all brothers. The Rock Boys gonna come together and do what they gotta do. The Rock Boys in the building tonight. Oh, what a feeling! It's feeling right. Oh no, Will ain't gonna put no hands on none of them. But this brought out the dark side on everything that was going on to like Mr. Squeaky Clean. Everybody wanted to prove that Will Smith got dirt on him too. He's just as filthy as the rest of us. It's envy. You know, other actors, they pretend like they're happy for Will. They weren't happy for Will. They wanted to be in Will's situation. They wanted to be in Will's shoes. And now that all of this has happened once again, to where now white folks who really didn't like to his position anyway, thought he had too much, got in a position to tear him down. And for what? For what? So we could be right back in this predicament we in right now? That don't seem fair. What did I think about the situation, the world, how people view society? It's a little difficult for some to swallow, but if you're me, it's not that difficult at all. You know, I just see something that makes sense and I run towards it. I say, well, that kind of makes sense to me. So I'm gonna focus on that and I'm gonna run towards it. Oh, definitely. Shouts out to at Kwame Brown Bus Life. Subscribe to him. Subscribe to Bus Life, Real Sports and News. Subscribe to One Crack News. Subscribe to Welcome to HD with the Two Eyes TV. Have you noticed I normally never say subscribe to One Crack News, and that's my other channel? I put everybody else before myself. I'm not that vain of a person. I hardly ever would say subscribe to me before I say subscribe to somebody else because I'm always been that type of person. So I just look at a situation in a scenario to where people can, it's hard, but I would say people could make the tough decisions that need to be made. And for me, that's a tough decision to be made. I think it's tough for people to excel and understand exactly what it is on the table that people need, want, view themselves as, the whole shebang bang. Oh, love, man. It's nothing but love and respect for y'all, man. So don't forget to like the video. My cash app is below. Carcino, it tells you. Um, I don't know what else to say. The Patreon is great. We're going to do a live stream on Patreon right after this because it's a lot I got to tell y'all that's going on. So y'all can have a lot of clarity into it. And to the rest of y'all, be easy. God bless. Love your family. Even if they've done you wrong, love them from afar. But love your family, man. I'm out.